Hi everyone, this is Shannon from the Florida Fishing Academy. Due to the current coronavirus crisis, we're out here at my home learning about the tackle box. Many of you may have been fishing before. Have you ever been fishing? I know I have. We've been fishing many times. Sometimes we fish in canals, sometimes we fish in ponds or lakes or even the ocean. Some of you may have even been out on our fishing boat, the Thea Marie. What we're going to do today is we're going to take a look at some tackle box tools. For those of you that are unfamiliar with a tackle box is pretty much a toolbox for fishing. I've got my tackle box here, and we're going to talk about all the different parts of my tackle box today. The first tool I'm going to show you guys today is a fishing hook. A fishing hook is probably one of the first tools you think of when you think about going fishing. But you may not have realized that there are different types of fishing hooks. The first hook we have here is the J hook. You might notice that the J hook looks a little bit like the letter J. This hook does have a few parts to it. You may not have ever realized that there's more to a hook than just the hook itself. On a hook, there is a teeny tiny hole up here. Some of you may know what that hole is for. This hole is called the eye hole, or the eye of the hook. And the eye of the hook is used to thread through our fishing line. We thread our fishing line through so that we can attach our hook onto our rod and reel. The second part of a hook that you may have not noticed before is you may know that hooks are sharp on top, but you may have not noticed the sharp little edge on the side of a hook. Hooks do have a sharp edge on the side. That sharp edge is there for a purpose. It allows this hook to grip or tug into a fish's cheek or mouth. This extra little spike here allows this hook to anchor into our catch so that it can't slip away as easily. This is called the barb, like a barbed wire fence. The next hook that I'm going to show you guys today is called a circle hook. The circle hook is a little bit different from our J hook. If you might remember, here's our J hook, and we're now looking at our circle hook. I've got two different size circle hooks just to show you how hooks come in all different shapes and sizes. And this circle hook is the type of hook that we like to use very often. Now, there's a reason why we might want to use this hook over, say, the J hook. The main reason why we may want to use this circle hook over the J hook is because this hook tends to be more friendly towards the fish. Now, you may be asking, what do you mean a hook is more friendly towards the fish? Well, a circle hook, being round, is not very easy for a fish to swallow. Since it is not very easy to swallow this hook, fish will most likely spit this hook back up and get it stuck in their mouth, as opposed to swallowing it and having it go down into their gills. So this is what I call my fish-friendly hook. The other thing that's nice about this hook is you do see that eye hole that we saw on our J hook, and you do still see that barb that we saw on our circle hook, but you may notice that this barb comes around a little bit curved. That curved part is so that we are a little bit safer. So I can actually drag this hook along my hand, and it's not going to hook me because it's curved this way. And I can do that with our little one here. Same thing, it's curved upwards, so it's less likely to hurt us when we go fishing, along with the fish. We now have some more tackle box tools. Now, the tools I have here are not living. These are made of plastic and rubber. I have some fake worms, some fake fish, and a fake frog, or at least that's what I think this is supposed to be. Now, I have a few different tools when I go fishing. You may go fishing and you may use a fake fish or a fake type of bait. Or you may use a real or living type of bait. That could include shrimp, that could include squid, fish, worms, and a number of other animals. These lures are a form of fake bait. We can still use them to attract and trick the fish, as they look very similar. The next tool we have in our tackle box is called a weight. Weights are very important when we go fishing, since many fish live towards the bottom of the water. When we cast out our hook, it's not always heavy enough to sink down to the bottom where the fish are swimming. So we add on weights. These weights here I have are bullet weights, and these bullet weights are oftentimes used in more shallow waters. Now, I wouldn't oftentimes use a weight this tiny if I was to go out deep sea fishing. If you've been out on our boat or if you've been deep sea fishing before, you may know that when you go deep sea fishing, you have to use larger weights. The weights we usually use when we go out deep sea fishing ranges from 3 to 5 ounces. Those weights are pretty large, larger than my J-hook would be. So picture a big metal weight here. And those weights are important because the water we're fishing in is usually over 80 feet deep. And since it's so deep, a weight this tiny isn't going to help us sink our hook down to where the fish are swimming. So weights come in all different shapes and sizes, but are definitely important when you go fishing. The next tool I have is a bobber. Now, I know many of my friends out there may be Pokemon fans, and this is not a Pokeball. This is a bobber, and a bobber is a fishing tool that we oftentimes use mainly in freshwater fishing. What we do with this bobber is we press into this little divot on the side, and when we do that, we'll see a little hook appear on top. That little hook there is then attached to our fishing line, where it then sits on top of the water until we catch a fish. Once we catch a fish, we'll see this bobber bounce up and down or get sucked underwater, letting us know that we've caught a fish. The next tool I want to show you all is this. Now, these sometimes look different. You may be familiar with a ruler. This tool is called a measuring tape. I can extend this and I can see measurements in both centimeters and inches. Most fishing regulations are in inches here in the United States. These tools are very important because if you ever go fishing and you take a fish that is the wrong size, say too small or too big, you may get a fine or a ticket for a fishing violation, which can sometimes amount to up to $300 per violation. It's very important to follow your fishing regulations, and we will be teaching you guys more about that next week. Now that we know most of the basic tools of fishing, we want to expand our learning. The next tool I have here is another type of lure. These are oftentimes referred to as stick bait, since it's a hard plastic fake lure bait. Now on here you may notice that I have a different hook. This hook kind of looks like a chandelier. We call these hooks treble hooks, or I like to call them treble hooks, because you can get in a lot of trouble if you get one of these hooks stuck in you, because they are very sharp and they spin around each time you try and take them out. These treble hooks and these lures, these stick bait lures, are very nice when you go fishing because you can just attach them to your rod and cast them out to catch a fish, or you could add some sort of shrimp spray to add another part to the fishing experience. The next tool I have here is a hook that has a weight and this shiny part on here. We call these spoons, spinners, shiners. You'll hear them called a few different names. But the primary purpose of this tool is to reflect the light. Now, I know many of you out there have probably seen the movie Finding Nemo. Now, a very famous part of Finding Nemo is when Dory goes up to the anglerfish. The anglerfish is the fish that has the big light over its head, and Dory goes up and she goes, ooh, shiny. Fish like shiny things. What we have here is a tool that will reflect the light and draw the attention of the fish. What this will do, being silver or sometimes gold, will reflect the light the same way a small bait fish would. When it reflects that light, it acts the same way that a fish would, with its scales being shiny. That then draws the attention of predatory fish, such as the barracuda, which then will come over to explore what we have here and oftentimes bite on to your hook. Barracudas are known for doing this whether you may be using a shiner or whether you may be swimming in jewelry. Shiny things often attract fish in the water, and this is a great tool to use when you go fishing. The last tool that I have to show today is called a jig. You'll notice this jig is on a J-hook with a weight, and you'll notice it has a little feather here. This can act as another lure that you can use when you go fishing. Now that we learned all the tackle box tools, I want you to draw a little tackle box yourself. Think of some of the tools I showed you. Maybe you liked the weights, the bait, maybe you liked the lures, the hooks. And I want you to draw your own tackle box that you might have at home, or a tackle box that you might want to create someday. Let's see your drawings. Here you can see my tackle box. I put in my tackle box a J hook, a circle hook, a bobber, a lure, a weight, and a tape measure. Post your images below. We'd love to see what's in your tackle box.